Your Facebook post from a couple of days ago jumped out at me. I read it again. I've shared it with people. Aaron's been asking virtually every Politico and business person we've had on, what do you anticipate from the Biden administration and the Democrat Congress? Basically, she says, how afraid should I be, judging from your Facebook post? There's a lot to be worried about. Tell us.
Well, I think it's really a long-term problem. I think what you're going to see is a strong move in the left direction. Obviously, everybody knows that, which means high taxes and mountains of regulations. It's going to be something that business people will have to come to adjust to. The big concern is, can our clients, the people we sell our product or service to, will they be able to afford to buy it? Because this overwhelming intrusion of the federal government, it could suck up all the available funds that people have to spend. I'm a contractor.
In other words,
I'm not sure people are going to be building.
Pardon me, your concern is not only for your business and the businesses of others around Louisiana and America, but your concern is that costs will be passed on, that Americans will be so taxed increasingly that there's really not going to be much spare income.
Well, that's a description of the Obama recovery that we didn't recover from, the longest recovery in history. They were spending so much money on other things that there was no disposable income in the American marketplace. So therefore, Americans couldn't spend. It took 8 years to recover, which should have taken maybe 2. That looks like what we're heading into as we move forward. And then, of course, there's the problem for the next generation, because somebody's got to pay for all this folly. And it probably won't be us. We'll be paying with higher taxes. We'll raise our cost, our selling price, if you will, to our customers. And until that point when the customer can't afford to pay anymore, it won't really impact us too much. But all that debt is being piled up is going to just suck away any future that this country has. It's horrible.
But Conrad, excuse me, Senator Appel, I apologize. I heard all the doom and gloom when Obama was elected, and we were going to be ruined, and we're going to be taxed to death. And to be honest, in my world, I did okay. My friends did okay. It wasn't the doom and gloom that everybody heard about. So I'm a little skeptical when I hear it today. What's the difference?
Let's go back to Obama for a second. What's the definition of okay? When was the last time that you had substantial increases in your value of your life? If you're starting at a low level and you don't realize you could be at a higher level, then you think you're doing okay. And that's the problem.
Okay.
It's a perception issue.
But you also wrote in your Facebook piece, in your column, you said, compared to Democrats today, compared to the Democrats in the United States Congress, both houses, you said Obama is a virtual moderate. Explain that a little bit.
Well, that's pretty clear. All you have to do is look at who's going to be the head of the Finance Committee in the Senate, Bernie Sanders, an avowed socialist, probably communist. He's going to have the purse strings of the U.S. Senate. Never, to my knowledge of history, never has anything like that ever occurred before. So that's what I meant by that point. It's a scary time we're going forward into. I'm not too concerned about the short term. I think the Democrats will flood the economy with cheap money, easy debt. You're going to see because they got to keep the economy going while they shift us away from a traditional entrepreneurial economy to one that we have no idea what it looks like. So they will prop up the economy in the near term. The problem is going to come 10 years, 20 years from now up the road when we got to pay for all of this. It's a problem. Let's look at Louisiana for a second. We have done this. The economy and the political strategy of Louisiana has been the same for almost 100 years. There's a little metaphor I use. When Detroit collapsed 25, 30 years ago, and the car companies went south. With the exception of one car company that went to your area, which was Hummer, we don't have any other car companies. They're in every other state because our political structure, our legal structure, our economy does not allow for those companies to make a profit. So they don't come here. They go to Mississippi, Alabama, and places like that, places that perhaps have no income tax.
How long before you see how long before you see businesses start closing across Louisiana as a result of the federal economic policies?
Businesses have been closing, but indirectly for other reasons. The problem in Louisiana is we don't know what those federal economic policies will be yet, so it's a little hard to project.
Let me pardon me, Conrad. Let me rephrase Aaron's question. Is the Louisiana economy too much taxation, too much power at the Capitol, too much regulation? Are we literally in micro what the federal government is about to become?
Yes, all the above. Has been. We've been screaming about that for years and years. That unless we're willing to restructure the economy of Louisiana and the political climate and the legal climate, we are never going to recover like the other southern states have recovered. And you're never going to see car plants, for instance. Down here in New Orleans, we have lost almost all the elements that was the economy 30, 40 years ago. Virtually the only thing that has any strength left in New Orleans is tourism. And tourism doesn't create jobs that pay wages that help people get out of poverty. So, I mean, unless this state makes a dramatic turnaround, we're going to be in serious trouble for generations to come. And as the federal government makes this turnaround, this big ship of federal government turns, we don't really know the implications yet, but they're not boding well. We can tell by the people he's putting in places. Remember, Biden didn't come out with any true policy statements other than his, I think it was 150-page manifesto that he was using to sell to the far left. We don't know what he's going to actually try to implement. How high are taxes going to go? How much regulation? Is he going to clamp down on the oil and gas industry, which is the lifeblood of Louisiana?
What's your advice to small business owners this morning?
Well, my advice to small business owners is pay close attention to what's going on. Keep yourself out of debt. Minimize the number of people you have on your payroll, and try to stay lean and mean because you don't know what you're going to be faced with in a year or two.